Welcome back. On today's edition, we shall have a look at Shane O'Mara's latest book titled In Praise of Walking. I chanced upon this book on this week's Sunday magazine from the New Indian Express on 28 March 2021. There were in all a record 46 books that were showcased in this week's edition of the Sunday magazine, and most of them were quite new, interesting and intriguing as well. This book was one among the highlights that I found so interesting. Shane O'Mara is Professor of Experimental Brain Research at Trinity College Dublin. Shane O'Mara begins his book with a beautiful premise. What is it that makes us human? Our ability to walk, and especially to walk upright on our 2 feet, an adaptation known as bipedalism, he says. In this book, Shane O'Mara talks about the mechanical magic of walking and how walking can set our thoughts free. Many of us live now in a deeply unnatural environment where we spend long periods of the day sitting with our eyes focused on screens, perhaps a half meter or so from our eyes. Long periods of immobility also cause changes in muscle. Fatty deposits build up in leg muscle, and as we age, we lose muscle mass, in part because of our immobility, or sarcopenia, says Shane O'Mara. But the moment we stand up, things suddenly change in brain and body. We become cognitively mobile. Jean-Jacques Rousseau says, "I can only meditate when I am walking. When I stop, I cease to think. My mind only works with my legs. I can only meditate when I am walking. When I stop, I cease to think. My mind only works with my legs." Jean-Jacques Rousseau. The phrase "movement is medicine" is correct, says Shane O'Mara. No drug has all of these positive effects, and drugs often come with side effects. Movement doesn't. Cars, bicycles, trains and buses all divorce you in different ways from the environment. There is a peculiar passivity to it. You are sitting, yet you are moving at speed. There is a peculiar passivity to it. You are sitting, yet you are moving at speed. Humans present a unique form of animal bipedalism, says Shane O'Mara. We stand upright with our hands free. Furthermore, we first colonized the planet by walking in small migratory groups. Our walking is hence social, he says. An African proverb reflecting this reality says, "If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together." Shane O'Mara then talks about the rhythm to walking. There is a rhythm to walking, one we are hardly aware of unless we pay close attention to it. Our legs reliably change position, one forward, the other stiffening, then the other forward and the one stiffening, and all the while moving us on while we remain upright. In chapter 5, he talks about walking a city. Walking a city is the best way to get to know it. You can't get to know the mood of a place when you are driving or being driven around. But on foot, you are directly in touch with city life in all its dirt and glory. The smells, the sights, the thrum of footsteps on pavements, shoulders jostling for position and placement, the street lights, the snatches of conversation, forms part of walking a city, says Shane O'Mara. In chapter 6 of his book, quoting Hippocrates, he says, "Walking is the best medicine. Yet in our modern world, most of us spend all day indoors sitting down, which can have terrible consequences for our health and well-being. We spend less time outdoors than ever before. One major study in the United States of America showed that people spent 87% of the time in the artificial environment of offices, houses, shops, and other buildings. We spend less time outdoors than ever before, says Shane O'Mara. One major study in the United States of America showed that people spend 87% of the time in the artificial environment of offices, houses, shops, and other buildings. Walking is paradoxically a form of active idleness and it facilitates engaged mind wandering. Walking is a form of active idleness and it facilitates engaged mind wandering, says Shenomara. In his great novel Ulysses, James Joyce connects well with this idea. Joyce says, "We walk through ourselves, meeting robbers, ghosts, giants, old men, young men, wives, widows, brothers in law, but always meeting ourselves." Yet another added bonus of walking is that while walking you can talk quietly with yourself and aloud with others, or simply listen to music, audiobooks, or podcasts. While walking you can talk quietly with yourself and aloud with others, or simply listen to music, audiobooks, or podcasts, says Shenomara. Many of the very best walks of my life have been with friends and family, usually in cities, but often in the countryside too, and the conversation flows easily, says Shenomara. Well, there are quite a lot of takeaways from this book for all of us. However, the major takeaway is that walking is good for you. The major takeaway is that walking is good for you. He says we need to make walking a natural, habitual part of our everyday lives. Pound the pavements, get the wind on your face, let the light of day and street lamps of night dance on your eyes. Feel the rain on your face, sense the ground beneath your feet, hear the sounds, talk if only to yourself. Relax into the rhythm of walking and let your mind wander. Deliberate, contemplate, journey into your past, delve into your possible futures, or think of nothing at all. But walk, because walking is good for you, says Shenomara. This book is available on all e-stores and on Kindle as well. So that's all for now. And until we meet on yet another edition of Books and Reading, it's me, Dr. Rufus, signing off for now. Thanks for watching, stay tuned and have a great day ahead.